always go back and edit the video later.
Okay. I'm so not tax savvy. Tech savvy. Tax savvy. I'm going to be tongue-tied, twisted, all kinds of stuff. Okay, so I believe it is recording now. Dylan, go make sure your dad comes in here and make sure this is recording before I go. Before we go at it, I'm going to start this recording.
Last time I saw a little, there it is. Yeah, it's recording on my end.
Okay, yeah, we got the Zoom recording. Now I just want to make sure that I have the
audio.
Yeah. The capture.
You said 12, 13 minutes.
For the last one or all of them?
All of them.
Oh, 12 to 13 minutes on all of them, so that's good.
Oh, I need to
Perfect.
12 then. Okay, so what do you need from me?
I just wanted you to make sure that I do have this recording.
I'm going to do 12.
I'm paranoid now. It's already set in.
I'm gonna do 12.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. And if you want to send me the link, I can hop on real quick, make sure it's coming through.
Send you what link?
To the Zoom.
But then you're going to pop up on my Zoom.
Oh, yeah. Never mind then.
Ah.
I'm gone.
He tried. Did you just call me a diva?
I said, I am such a diva.
Yes, you are.
That's a good thing. That's a good
I
thing.
was about to say he can't call me a diva and not own it himself. I
true.
own mine.
There you go.
If I had headphones, girl, I'd have headphones on right now.
I know.
I love the big headphones.
Yes.
Oh man. All righty. Here we go.
All right.
Why don't you count me down 3, 2, 1? I'm serious. Hey, good evening, everybody. And this is Audra, and you're watching Coming in Hot. Oh my gosh, this is episode 2, and I am the one sitting in the interviewer seat. So it shouldn't feel like the hot seat, but it still kind of does a little bit. But my guest tonight, she knows exactly how I felt last week. But anyway, here on Coming in Hot, we like to talk about mindset theories that will help you have practical ways to deal with lifestyle changes and relationships, health, all kinds of different things. So that being said, tonight I wanted to bring on someone that I've known for several months now, and I would like to get to know a lot more. And she is a local business owner and a mom of 3. She's married to a fabulous pastor here, and they run a local church, homegrown church. And we wanted to talk a little bit tonight about educating from home and how that has become everybody's new normal. So we wanted to talk to everybody about that and maybe see if we could get some insight maybe.
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Shelley. Thanks, Audra, so much for having me. It's so exciting. I love Girl Talk. And so especially right now, it's like all this social distancing. I'm really loving this. But like Audra mentioned, I'm a mom of 3. I have an 18-year-old, 14-year-old, and a 9-year-old. And so homeschooling is a little bit of, I've had a little bit of experience with it. And pretty much a couple of times every month, I say things like, you know what? I'm just going to homeschool my kids again. And then thanks to the coronavirus, I'm getting to. So yeah.
That's the same thing. I don't have experience like homeschooling my children until now. If you want to call it that, I really don't feel like I've homeschooled yet. I feel like this is just kind of practice for right now because the school is doing so much of it. But I actually wanted to homeschool my youngest daughter. For sure, I would homeschool my oldest. But we'll have a junior and a senior, a junior and a sophomore right now. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to let you finish out. But
right.
Anyway, I was definitely one of those parents that everybody's making fun of on social media who wanted to homeschool their kids. And now I'm like, what do I do?
Yes, for sure. And I know so many of the school districts are handling this differently. Some of them are kind of not on that learning curve yet. And then some are. Yeah. I know the school that my kids attend, it's crazy right now. The teachers are just throwing all kinds of stuff at us. And I'm like, okay, if I'm going to homeschool my kids, chill and let me do it a little bit my way. So I think it's good and bad. It's like they're helping keep us on track. However, we can also use this time as some freedom to really shape our kids and take some time to teach them things that we feel like they need to know for life. So.
Right, exactly. I mean, there's so many things have changed since we were even in school. There was so much emphasis. This may be going a little off topic, but so much emphasis on the testing. And honestly, that's what
Yeah,
stressed my kids out the most is the testing.
for sure. For
And
sure.
I'm just going to tell you, they were jumping for joy when they found out that the testing was done for the year. They really
I was
were.
jumping for joy. I was jumping for joy too.
Right? It
And
was just like a
honestly,
weight lifted.
I didn't know how serious the coronavirus really was until they canceled the STAR test. And then I'm like, oh, okay, we're serious. This is serious business.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. I was like, okay, something's really going on here.
Yeah, for sure. And we were totally jumping for joy too.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think the teachers were too, honestly. I mean,
Probably. I could not imagine the stress of having to prepare lessons that way. I just cannot.
yeah. And so many times when we're teaching for a test, it kind of takes the fun out of truly learning something new, you know? So,
I could imagine. So you well,
yeah,
let's just go ahead and talk some more about the negatives here. We'll go ahead and get negative Nancy
yeah, for
out
sure.
of the way. So,
Out of the way. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So we can, just put her in her box and move on. But so we're all kind of struggling here with different things. And some of the things that I'm hearing about from other people is that they are struggling with being able to teach their children what is being sent down from the school.
Yes.
And
So
that's
true.
really a struggle right now for some of them.
Yeah, I know for us, my 9-year-old, they pretty much have covered everything they needed to cover in the fourth grade, except for some geometric units and different types of triangles and things like that. And it was like, oh my God, I had to really think about this, and I had to teach him something that they hadn't really learned yet. I don't think that's fair to parents. I mean, being an educator is a gift. And not all of us have that gift. And so it's definitely a struggle. I mean, I don't really think it's fair to introduce new concepts to kids. There are so many kids that their parents are still working right now. Maybe they're in healthcare and they're not home and they don't have the time to do it. It's just really unfair for those kids. That's a huge negative for me. Like it's not fair. I mean, it's even having experience homeschooling, it's still difficult to introduce these new techniques that they're wanting us to teach the kids when every kid's definitely either A, not being taught it at all, or B, being taught differently. Somehow we have to get all on the same page. That's difficult.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point. The techniques, especially I go straight to mathematics, which is probably my worst subject ever. But I mean, really, I'm like, I have a Rolodex. Thank goodness I have some smart friends that are engineers and stuff who get this stuff, because otherwise my kids would probably fail. But some of this stuff, like you said, it has to be done, and each system and each teacher sometimes has their own way of doing it, and they want it done this specific way. And it's so interesting how over time it looks like so much of the school system is turned into a very much of a cookie cutter type of a situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We want all the kids to be in the same box, act the same way, be interested in the same things, learn at the same pace. And I mean, we all know that we're all created differently. And that's the beautiful thing, is that we're all good at different things.
Yeah,
and or when you start putting kids and measuring up to each other and expecting straight A students, like, I mean, there are the exceptions, but the majority of the population of the kids, they're not like that. It's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's definitely something that's taken for granted a lot of times. I mean, even as a parent at home, sometimes I will catch myself just kind of wanting everybody to fall in line. And I have to really watch that, because I have to remember that, my daughter, she has different interests and different likes than my son. And I have to just kind of take that into consideration sometimes. And I know I'm not an educator, never have been, but I could imagine that is very difficult and a lot of weight on their shoulders also, I have to say, to try to be individualized for each child, especially when we have these big classrooms,
For sure. And I mean, I know it's hard on the teachers. Several teachers that I've spoken with, they're like, I wish we could just come back to school, because they're worried about the kids, and they're learning that, all these parents are teaching them in math to carry the one when they worked so hard to not make them carry the one. But for me, it makes sense. That's how I'm going to teach it. Like,
exactly.
So
just go with the
flow. Feel the teacher cringing, like, oh, look, can we please come back to school just so I know it's being taught right?
Oh, I know. I bet a lot of them are. They're probably already preparing for next year, like damage control.
Yes, for sure.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so one of my biggest problems right now is balance.
Oh yeah.
I'm having a huge problem figuring out how to, because I work from home already. So that wasn't something I just honestly, I thought it was going to be a little bit easier. Let's just be real. I thought, oh, I already work from
Yeah.
home. And so I want to homeschool my kid. Go ahead and laugh. And
Yeah.
and so I can do this rah, rah, rah. And then it happened. And then I'm like, she's done with her stuff in like half an hour, 45
Oh
minutes.
yeah.
She's breezing right
Oh
through
yeah.
it. And then I'm still stuck over here, over in work mode, not sure what to do. And I'm finding her bouncing off the walls, or she's over here on the computer watching somebody play
Yeah.
video games because I've got the controller so she can't play the video games. But
Yeah.
it's just, I feel like it's a constant battle right now with trying to find a balance between being here and being present for her, because I've realized now how much she is missing out on seeing her friends. I did not understand the
Oh,
impact that was going to have on her.
yes. Yeah, it's honestly depressing. I mean,
Mhm.
seeing my kids, like they're all three in sports. And so you're talking literally 4 to 5 nights a week. We're
Ugh.
out doing sports, doing all these things. And now we don't have any sports, and church is so limited.
Mhm.
And it is depressing. That's a huge negative to all of this. Is it's just we are created to be social beings and to be among community. And it's like all of that with the social distancing has just been stripped from us. And it's so hard to watch your kids just be sad, honestly.
It is. It
It
really
is.
is. And all she wants is
Mhm.
just to spend some time with me is what it is. And I don't know why I feel so torn. Maybe it's because I still have
Yeah.
my job, and because I know that I need to keep working, and I have to be an example for her. I can't just sit down and not do anything, but I do know that I can be too rigid and too structured and
Right.
not flexible enough.
Yes.
And then I take it out on her, and
Yeah.
I don't want to
And
be
that's
that one.
yeah, for sure. For sure. And I think it's good for our kids to see that we do have different priorities. For the next couple of hours, work is going to have to be my priority. But for
Right.
the hour after that, you're going to be my priority. And then after that, getting the house clean is going to be my priority. And that's just balance, is having multiple priorities and then putting them in some kind of order, not necessarily greatest to least or least to greatest, but just what fits in this moment. And that's how I've been finding my balance, is like, just take it, not even a day at a time. Sometimes it's an hour at a time.
Yes, that's the learning curve right there, is learning to be okay with not
Yeah.
having everything be okay right now.
Right.
Learning how to
Exactly.
just let things kind of take shape the way they're going to, and roll with the punches, I guess you could say.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, we are about ready to take a little break. So I'm going to let you go for a few minutes, and everybody
All
stick
right.
around, and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Okay, that should be enough of that. Woo!
Yeah, that sounds good. I think that went great. You
That
did so
did.
good. You didn't seem nervous to me at all.
Good, because I was trying.
Hmm.
I was really trying to make sure I kept looking at this camera. It's so weird.
I know. You did good. Yeah, I felt when you were like trailing off the conversation, I would just try to come in instantly. That way.
Oh
So I
no,
know we stepped on each other a
oh
few
yeah.
times, but
No, you were doing good.
I
I
wanted to make
appreciate
sure
it.
there wasn't that dead time.
Yeah, exactly. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I had to pull my notes out for a minute. I was like, wait a minute. Now, what was it I said that was bothering me about these kids? All of a sudden, I forgot.
Yeah. Oh, that's normal.
All right, out the window. Oh,
Oh yeah.
man. Okay. But I mean, literally, for the issues that we had before this got started, that was good.
Hey, that was pretty good.
No complaining there. Okay, so let's see. So we got actually through the negative part.
Yeah.
That was good. Okay. Okay, so then the next part would really, I guess, get into being the biggest influences. But let me see. The last thing we were talking about there was balance. So I need to segue balance into being the biggest influences, or how to make lemons out of lemonade. How about I'll do that? That would be a
There you
easier
go.
segue.
Yes.
Okay, and then We can talk about creating new normal or normalcy, setting the example. All righty. Okay. Here we go again. Now I have to come back in, don't I?
Yeah.
All right, Dylan, you want to count me back in? Hey guys, we're back, and I'm talking to Miss Shelley Reid. And as I mentioned before, if you're just joining us, that she is a local business owner and a mom of 3, a wife to a fabulous local pastor to a homegrown church here. And we are discussing balancing parenting and working from home now and all of the changes that have come with that and becoming home educators. And the last little bit that we were talking about in the last segment, we finished out talking about balance. And so we kind of wanted to touch on how we can make lemons out of lemonade. Did I say that right?
Make lemonade out of lemons. Yeah.
I knew I was going to say something wrong. Okay, so we're going to make lemonade out of lemons.
There you go.
See, I got it right that time. But anyway, so, and that comes along with the balance too, because we are having to create a new normal here.
Yeah, for sure.
So could you tell me maybe some of the ways that you have found to try to create that balance and that new normalcy?
Yeah, for sure. With homeschooling, the beautiful thing about it is it doesn't have to be as structured as school. And so I think finding that freedom and that flexibility in your everyday schedule is something that doesn't really feel normal because we're so used to going to bed at 9 p.m. and waking up at 6 a.m. and doing this and doing that. And do you have your backpack? And do you have your lunch? And we have this very rigid normal. And now that we're finding a new one, we tend to be a little more, at least at my house, we tend to be a little more lax with what time we go to bed and what time we wake up. But it's finding our new normal. And it's actually a beautiful thing. I'm enjoying it. My younger one goes to bed a little earlier, and then I get to stay up later with my teenagers and find my inner teenager. It's been really fun. But it is, finding a new normal is great. Honestly, it's difficult because it feels so weird, because especially this has been extended. It's going on and on and on. It was going to be for a week and then 2 weeks, and now it's a month, and there's no end in sight. And so finding a new normal, I think right now is definitely important.
Yeah. I totally agree. That one of the first things we did was sit down with the kids, and I said, okay, in your perfect world, what time would you like to go to bed and get up every day? And Piper, the 7-year-old, she goes, I would like to go to bed at, I think she said 10 maybe. I think hers was pretty much spot on. And then she wanted to get up at 7. And I was like, okay, I can do that,
Mm-hmm.
And the older ones were like, I don't know, we want to get up at like 10 o'clock. I was like, have you lost your mind? I was like, okay, so we're not doing that. And, and I was like, we're going to get up at this time and da-da-da-da-da. And I did that for the first 2 weeks. And it was up and down. Mm-hmm. And they were not getting up to their alarms and this and that. And something, I know we're only on Wednesday, but something told me this week to just chill. Just relax a little bit. Like maybe I'm being too rigid. I was thinking that I was being structured. And maybe that's part of my balancing issue too, is I don't know where to stop structure. Where structure and, I don't know what the word was I was thinking of. But anyway, I don't know where structure ends and it's like where it's too much.
Right, for sure. And for every kid, it's different. I mean, some kids thrive in structure. I would say most do thrive in structure. But as they get older, that structure tends to look a little bit different. And so that's on my kids. I mean, my older ones, I'm like, please just go to bed by 12, and I just wake them up at a reasonable time, and they, eat something, and then we get started on schoolwork. Every day looks a little bit different. It's not the same Monday through Friday. It's just different. And that's okay. And honestly, I love that. I'm a creature of habit, but I'm also this super free spirit, and I hate rules. So there's just a lot, when it comes, I'm like, okay, we can do that. Why can't we do it that way? We totally can. For example, my 4th grader had a writing prompt to do for his schoolwork. And the writing prompt was on the coronavirus. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of overhearing about that right now. And so I said, you know what? Let's write about Easter. This week, it's going to be Easter Sunday. And he wrote the best paper. So did I have a rule and structure? Yes. But was there freedom and flexibility in the structure? Absolutely. And he flourished and he wrote such a great paper about Easter. And it was so heartwarming to see like his thoughts on paper, you know? So just one little example.
I love that you did that.
Yeah.
I took Piper out yesterday because I mentioned a minute ago that I've been frustrated with, and I know it's me, it's my own fault because I don't have my own balance and I can't help her
Right.
balance if I'm not balanced. So while I'm trying to seek that out and find it yesterday, I said, we just need to mix things up and get out of the house for a minute. Let's just mix it up. So I said,
Yeah.
let's go out and let's go for a ride. And we went and picked wildflowers and stuff. Oh, by the way, the project I told you about,
It didn't work out.
they shriveled up a little bit. I will show you.
Oh.
It's pretty pitiful. I tried to dry some flowers out in the microwave, and it looked really good when I saw it on TV and when I see it on YouTube, but mine shriveled up really tiny. So maybe it was just the flowers I used. But
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe so. But while we were
At
out,
least you tried.
Yeah, I did. I really tried, but it didn't turn. But I was asking her while we were out, I started explaining to her, I guess, my frustrations. And I let her know that I knew that she was asking me for a lot of attention and something that I need to step my game up on. And I hope this will speak to somebody else is I'm not necessarily, I used to be really quick to be the one to jump and go, hey, you're doing that wrong. You're doing that wrong. And I've really chilled out on that. But at the same time, I should have stepped up my attaboy game and learned to step out and tell her when she's doing good more often without being prompted and having to be asked.
Yes.
So while we were talking about that, we discussed what are some of the things that you and I could do together. And we're going to schedule it in like you were talking about. So now it's a matter of me, putting my money where my mouth is. So
Right.
I'm feeling like, I scheduled in some time with her. And I said, what are some of the things that we can do that don't involve sitting in front of the TV or, playing a video game all the time together? And we came up with some great stuff. We came up with, meditating is not her favorite thing, but I'm really trying to get her into it. So meditating, she rolled her eyes at that, and yoga, but she was all about singing karaoke and
There
playing
you
a few
go.
board games. And so we're coming up with compromises for that. But do you have any other suggestions, or is there any fun things that you do with your kids that's maybe a little off the wall?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, speaking of yoga, we've been going to the track every day. We love to work out. We love to be active and we love outdoors. And so we've been doing that, but we were all so sore because we've just been killing it because there's nothing else to do. And so we were like, you know what? Let's do yoga. So it was like 11 o'clock at night. We just found one on YouTube, airplayed it on the TV, and we moved the coffee table out of the way and messed the whole living room up. And we did yoga together, and it was so fun. I mean, we were laughing, and when you're laughing, you can't hold a yoga pose, but it was fun. It was off the wall. We've never done that before. And now every night the kids are like, are we going to do yoga again? I'm like, do you really want to? But that was definitely off the wall. But as far as like homeschooling and finding out like what your kids are interested in, like you were talking about, doing something different, not watching TV all day, expanding your horizons, opening your mind. I don't know about you, Audra, but when I was in school, I remember going through school and then becoming a young adult and thinking, why did they never teach us this in school? It's like so many real life things they just don't teach you in school because we're so worried about the STAR test and cookie cutter kids and creating these perfectly well-rounded little citizens,
Right.
And I just remember thinking that, why didn't I learn this at school? It would have been really cool if they would have taught us that. And so I sat my kids down and I was like, okay, guys, what are some things I want you to each write down questions? What are some things that you just really wish you could have learned at school that would just be so cool if you learned about? And they began writing questions, each of them several questions. And it was so cool as a mom for me to get to see where their mind is at, where their heart is at, what their true interests are. My 14-year-old, it was all about like basically science and animals. He wanted to know, like, how do you know when a tornado is coming? That's a great question. We live in Texas.
Yeah,
Actually, let's look that up. Yeah, right. I mean, seriously. But so we've just been every day learning one of those questions, something that they are interested in, not just doing what the school is sending, but going a little above and beyond, connecting with them. I love this right now. Something that's positive for us is every day I ask my kids, how was your day? How was your day? And now I'm finding myself just being a part of their day and not even having to ask that question because I'm there. And is it hard? Yes. But is it so amazing? Yes. Yes and yes.
Yeah, the blessings and rewards. I mean, I can say the same thing. And like you said before, not everybody is cut out to be an educator and this and that. And I don't know how much I'm cut out to be. Like I said, I was planning on doing one, not three, and not in the midst of a pandemic. So I feel like I got thrown into the washing machine too. But we're all in this together, and we all can step out and help each other. I know that I have a Rolodex of people that I call when it comes to academic issues and things like that I can't handle. But I really like what you're talking about as far as getting out of the box. And I'm actually going to do exactly what you said with your kids. I want to have them sit down and write down what is most important to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what some of their hobbies and things are, but it does make me wonder now, what else is beyond maybe the hobbies that I know about? Because they've spent so much time in school, and especially the older ones talking to their friends. That's where they seem to want to tell everybody all the good stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe spending more time at home, maybe I can get to know a little bit more of the good stuff.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes you just have to take that mom hat off.
Yeah.
And just listen to your kids. And I know we're not all educators, but you know what? We can learn something from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone. So I would say to every parent listening that you're in this right now and you're like, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to do this? Just know that you're good at a lot of things. And there's a lot of things that you have to offer to your kids, not just being their educator for those core subjects, but for life. That your kids are you. They're a part of you. And so don't ever be afraid to share your life experiences, because we can learn something from everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that you had mentioned to me pre-interview and this and that we are the biggest influencers right now in our children's lives. That's something that I think as parents, we've always wanted to pride ourselves on. But right now, there is no other explanation but exactly what you just said. We have the biggest influence on our children. So anyway, that being said, I'm getting cut off again. He's like yelling at me. So we're going to go ahead and go pay some bills, run some ads, and then we will see you guys when we get back.
Yes.
I heard you. I totally forgot how I was going to get out of it, but I was like, whatever.
There you go. They can cut out some fluff and make it the right time.
Oh yeah. He's not going to worry about that at all. Let's see. I'm literally going to ask my kids that question though.
Honestly, I was like, I never knew my 14-year-old was so interested in animals and just science, And so we've even watched some documentaries on like the world's most dangerous animals together, just me and him. And we have learned a lot, let me tell you.
I think that's good. I think we could, let's see. Okay, so we're in the last segment now. I think we could talk a little bit more about that. And then I wanted to add on to more. Oh, I took my wedding ring off. I wanted to add on. Yeah, that's going to be funny. It's going to be on, off. Married again.
Yeah. A lot has happened in the last 12 minutes.
I know, right? Oops. But I was thinking another thing that maybe we could add on to, like you were talking about, it's not all about education, because I don't know why I went back to academics again. Where I had meant to go was into talking about how doing things around the house, growing a garden, or even we put in the floor with the kids, how those things also help shape their minds and shape them in, I'm not saying the right words. I need to get my words together. But I mean, that's education is what I'm trying to say. That is education right there in itself.
Yes.
So,
for sure.
Let's see. And then, okay, is there anything in particular that you wanted to hit on that we have not hit on, with it being the last segment?
Something that I was thinking maybe we could end with, after we talk about how, education can be different, like you were mentioning, making learning fun. We can turn anything into a learning experience, anything. Yeah. But something I was thinking, like whenever we end it, is, busy was such a buzzword.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you doing? Oh, busy. It's busy was such a buzzword. And now I'm not really hearing I'm not really hearing that as much anymore. And I love that new normal.
Yeah.
I love that, you know?
You definitely have to put that in there.
Yeah.
That's going to be good. Okay, so we're going to talk about making anything educational and
making learning fun again.
yeah, that's what you said, making learning fun again. And all kinds of everyday tasks and what else? Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking over the last little bit that I'd written down here.
Yeah.
So do you want me to pose a last question to you then, that you could bring up that busy part right there?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
And then that could close out the show, and then I could just say thank you to you and see you next time at the very end?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so, Dylan, with that being said, you can, if you'll give me about what do you want, about a 2-3 minute? I mean, you do with it whatever you want. It's shorter or longer. I just want to make sure I give you about what you think you might want to close that up.
Are you talking to Dylan or me?
No, I'm talking to you. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I thought
good.
you were talking to Dylan.
No.
Oh, girl, yeah. 2 minutes is fine. Yeah.
Okay. So then I'm going to need you to give me about a 3-minute cue instead of a 1 minute. Okay? Okay, so then that'll give us about 9-10 minutes to talk some more about how everyday tasks and chores and what other things.
Yeah. I know we've been using a grocery app and ordering groceries to our door. And sometimes I just let my kids order the groceries. And that's interesting. But I'm like, you know what? What do you think we should have this week? Yeah. What do you think we should have this week, you know?
Oh, yeah, you're going to have to bring that up because that freaks me out. That freaks me out.
We have some very interesting things. I think we had like all breakfast food one time.
Oh, Lord. Well, I can't say nothing. I bought like one of the big bags of Fruity Pebbles last night for no reason other than it sounded good.
Oh, there is a reason. There is a reason because those are delicious.
Oh, yeah. It's so good. Well, I haven't had any yet, but I'm going to have some. That's probably going to be my comfort food today.
Yeah.
I should have got cocoa. Sure. But I have Count Chocula in there. Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right. I need to get my bits together for a minute to go in and out of these segues because I'm not pulling them off as well as I would like.
Yes, you are. You're doing awesome.
Oh, let's see. Okay. So we are coming back and we were discussing at the very end, we were discussing this, right? We were discussing what are the different things that we're doing to spice it up.
Yes.
Okay, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. All right, Dylan, can you count me down and then 3-minute segue? Oh, how am I gonna tell you about? Oh, maybe I'll just bring up busy. Maybe I'll just bring up that whole topic. I'll say, hey, nobody's busy anymore. Or nobody's as busy as there is. Or nobody's hollering they're busy anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be your cue.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Dylan. You know what you're doing? All right. All right, go ahead and count me down, dear. Hey guys, welcome back to Coming in Hot with Audra. And again, we're here with Miss Shelley Reid. and we were discussing everything that is being a home educator and parent right now and working from home, all of that good jazz, how to balance it and how to maybe try to make it a little fun. So we were
For sure.
discussing some of the different things that we can do with our kids that are maybe outside of the box a little bit. And Shelley was sharing some of the things that she's done with her kids.
Yes. One thing that I've realized is being at home, I have so many tasks I want to do. I feel this pressure to cook like 3 meals a day. I don't know why. No one's putting that pressure on me. I just feel it because I am home and, I want to do those things. So I've just been trying to make everything fun. Like, is it annoying? Yes. Does it take longer? Yes. But it's worth it because we're building a learning experience and we're not just teaching those core subjects that the school is sending us, but we're turning everything into a fun learning experience. Something that we've done recently is we're using a grocery app to stay out of the grocery stores. And so we have groceries delivered to our door and it's really cool. And so sometimes I'll just tell the kids, you know what, why don't you plan what we're going to eat this week and give them the app and let them choose our groceries. And it's horrible. It's terrifying.
I can't. It freaks me out.
But it's teaching them like, oh, this is how you order groceries. They don't just appear in their refrigerator or the cabinet. And it has that price tag. And they're getting to see this is how much this costs. And this is why we buy this because it's $1 cheaper or, it's learning curve all the way around. So.
And I bet it also helps them. They have to learn how to meal plan at some point. And know how to put meals together and what goes together and what doesn't. And also if they plan on having a large family, you guys have a large family, we do too. Sometimes you need to know what are like the budget savers.
Absolutely. And, I realized in doing this that I've totally failed my 18-year-old daughter as a mother because through this, I've realized she only knows how to cook popcorn.
Oh, no.
So that's a problem.
Yeah.
We're addressing that.
Yeah. Can she boil water?
No. She's learning. She's learning a lot right now. We're learning a different kind of education.
See, and that's why, like you said, there is education in everything. I mean, there really is. My son is interested in cooking, and he was able to have culinary classes in school, and I'm so grateful that he did. Now he does not, but I'm finding out that actually is one of his passions because he's going out of his way to try to rock it in the kitchen and spruce things up, change them up a little bit and spice it up. And we're having a lot of fun with that. We got chickens too, but they're living in Angel's room right now.
Are they small little ones?
Yes, they are. And 2 of them have little pom-poms on their heads.
Oh, that's so cute. Yes.
They are so cute. So, I guess our next education project around here is going to be fixing up the chicken coop.
There you go.
Yeah.
Plenty of YouTube videos for that. So.
Oh, man. We're going to need to because the first one we built is kind of a little rickety. So it's time for like Chicken Coop 2.0.
Yeah, but that's a huge learning thing. Your kids don't have to attend an agriculture class. They're learning it at home during quarantine. So.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
now, you
great.
said that your son is very much interested in science and in animals and stuff like that. So how do you go about doing all that if you don't have a lot of animals, around because we can't go to the zoos and stuff? So what are you doing about that?
Right. Well, we actually found a documentary. We've been watching a lot of documentaries on Netflix because they're very educational and they're super interesting. Mm-hmm. And so we watched one called like the 72 most dangerous animals, and him and I both learned so much, and it was quality time with just him and I, which is also huge to have, especially with your teenage boy. So.
Yeah. And I'm all about watching documentaries with the kids. We were all into Zoo Life. Have you caught that? Like The Secret Life of the, I think it's Secret Life of the Zoo. I think that's what it's called.
No, I haven't.
Yes, it's a docu-series, and they did it, I believe, maybe in the Bronx Zoo, and then they did it in I can't remember which zoo, and I should know. Very famous zoo somewhere in another country, I believe. And anyway, it's fascinating because they have hidden cameras all over the zoo, and they commentate over it, and the handlers tell a lot about the stories of the animals and the relationships between them. So we found that interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's like this time we can really tap into the internet, YouTube, Netflix documentaries. There's so many cool ways that our kids can learn other than just being traditional in a traditional classroom.
Yeah,
It's to tap
absolutely.
into those things. So for sure. It takes time, but you know what? I'm learning something too. Every time I'm teaching them, I'm learning myself. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, there was another documentary. I'm going off topic now again, but that's okay. Drain the Oceans. For
Okay.
out there, for any of these parents, if your kids are interested in history or archaeology, or they even like the outdoors and things like that, that's another good one to watch is Drain the Oceans, because you get to see literally what it like underneath San Francisco Bay, y'all. It looks like craters. It
Oh,
looks like
wow.
yeah, it's just valleys and just plateaus and mountains, and woo, it's pretty extreme.
That is so cool. I think that is so cool.
But it's so interesting, and then you learn about the history of the archaeology and how things have changed over time, everything from the soil to just the climate and things like that. And it's pretty fascinating when you get
Yeah.
into that kind of stuff.
And you mentioned auditing a garden or starting something new with your kids. I mean, that's so cool. Those things take time,
Hmm.
but they're not always learning those things in school. And those are honestly life survival. I mean, think
Absolutely.
about it. Like if the grocery stores did close down, you want your kids to know how to self survive. So
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah, I'm
cool.
letting my husband kind of head that one up because I don't have a green thumb. I
Yeah.
kill ivy, I kill cactus, you name it. So he's heading that one up, and the older kids are following his lead and gonna hopefully teach me a pipe or a little bit of something. But I'm not holding my
Yeah.
breath.
Oh my goodness. A few years ago, I decided I was going to grow my own things to make my own salsa. So just like very limited things. Nothing grew, nothing. It all died. However, one bell pepper grew, one, and it was about this big around, beautiful and green and shiny. It took 45 days to grow that thing.
45.
45 days. Like I just buy them now. It's just so much easier.
I was
But I
like,
remember picking that bell pepper and just staring at it like, I don't even want to eat this because like I grew this, but I did eat it because I wanted to taste it. And so I didn't let anyone else eat it. Only I got to eat it because I grew it. And I was so proud. I can't imagine these people that have full blown gardens and farms and ranches, how much pride they must have because
oh my gosh. And then they're at the
they,
mercy of, like, if they're growing an outdoor garden, they're at the mercy of the weather and everything.
yeah,
And
I can't imagine.
yeah, and while we're talking about education, think about how much, like you said, how much you have to know about what the weather is doing and what the soil is, what is in it, what
Yeah,
nutrients you need. There is a whole lot of education in things like that.
absolutely. So props to all of our farmers, people that are ranching out there and giving us all of our meat and produce.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for sure.
Yes. So appreciative because, some of us would starve without you.
I would only have one bell pepper for 45 days.
You
So,
never did get your salsa, huh?
I never did. I never did.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So making education fun then is probably the key right now, huh?
I agree. I agree totally. It's like reshaping our children's minds like, hey, school's not boring. School can be super fun. Learning can be fun. We just have to figure out a new way to do it. And every child is so different. I mean, I have a child that's visual, I have a child that's a very traditional learner. And so homeschooling all three of them is difficult because I feel like I need to connect on their level, for each one of them, how they're learning, what interests them, and also making it fun. So it's definitely a challenge. But man, I'm learning so much about my kids. And we've always been a very connected family, anyways. But I feel like we're getting even more connected. I'm learning even more about them and their interests. So it's been cool.
So that's probably going to be one of the biggest takeaways, I think, that at least I hope most people are feeling, because that's the way we're feeling. We are feeling like
Yeah.
we are just drawing ourselves into each other more and more, because there's no reason to sit here and be negative about it, because it just is what it is. And
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah.
very long ago that everybody was hollering, I'm too busy and I'm just busy all the time. I don't have time. So,
Yes.
everything's changed quite a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the buzzword for the last year has been that word, busy. It's like the word busy replaced so many other adjectives in our lives. Like, how are you doing? People used to say, oh, blessed, wonderful, healthy. And the new buzzword the last year has just been, how have you been? Oh, busy.
Yeah.
Okay, have you busy? It was a buzzword. And, I'm not really hearing that buzzword anymore. I'm not hearing the word busy. I'm seeing people trying to find things to keep them busy. But it's been so cool just not hearing that word so much and seeing people like, okay, well, you don't have your job anymore. Your kids aren't going to school anymore. You don't have sports every night. You have all this time at home together and you just have to make the most of it.
So it's about maybe just changing that mindset and looking at the positive.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been that person that sees the glass half full, not half empty. And so many people aren't like that. And I'm definitely not friends with a lot of those people, but
Right.
I tend to go to the positive people. But I'm seeing through all of this that even though there is a lot of negative, there is a lot of pushback, that people are finding the beauty in not being busy.
Yes, and you can still see the community coming together, which is still a beautiful thing. I think it was Pastor Chris that said, instead of social distancing, why don't we call it physical distancing? And I've seen that used some since then. And that is definitely more of the way that I would like to look at it, Yeah,
for sure.
But so I hate to cut you off. We have so run out of time. I'm probably over, but I hope that everyone got some good information out of this. I know that I did, and I appreciate you so much for coming on and doing this with me through all the technical difficulties.
For inviting me.
Oh, I'd love to have you back. And I really appreciate your insight and reminding me that we are the biggest influencers right now in our children's lives. And so they are relying on us to be able to step up and set the example. So if we can keep our heads above water and, just keep on pushing forward, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. Amen, girl.
Right. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Everybody have a good evening, and we will see you back next week on Coming in Hot.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all.
Y'all, girl.